G'day friends, I'm Cam and welcome to Aussie Moto and Outdoors. Today I am doing my 1 month review of my 2022 Yamaha YZF R3. Now to keep things interesting, I'm doing a tour of the Southern Tablelands around Milla right here in far north Queensland, Australia. And have a look at that view, just absolutely gorgeous. That's Mount Bartle Frere off in the distance. Alright, let's get cracking. Okay, first things first, let's have a look at these mirrors. They're really not too bad. You do get a decent view behind you. You can see a little bit of your shoulder and your elbows, but if you either give it a bit of chicken wing like I'm doing there, or you adjust them, to suit depending on your height, you should be able to get a decent view behind you. Next, we'll check out the wind buffeting. Now I've left the volume up from the GoPro just so you can hear how it sounds. Now there's a comfortable riding position that's comfortable for me. I'm 6'1", and I sit just at a nice height that I miss most of the noisy wind. But you see, as I go to crouch down, it does get quite noisy. Once you get right in tucked behind the windscreen, it's really quite good. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about performance and how she goes. I'm not going to go into all the specs. If you're seriously looking at buying one of these, you would have done what I've done and you've spent hours online looking at all the specs. You know the CCs, you know the size of the rotors, you know all about the brakes, all the rest of that, so I'm not going to go into it. I'm just going to let you know how it performs. And I find it brilliant. Now, I haven't done a lengthy career on motorcycles. I rode dirt bikes as a kid, a little bit here and there, and this is actually my introduction to road bikes. Now, I do find it quite quick. I do understand it is just a 321cc, but coming from driving cars all the time, these do 0 to 100 in around about 5 seconds. So if that's you, if you're a driver of cars and you've just sort of made your way onto motorbikes, you're going to find the pickup quite quick. Now they say this thing does 100 mile an hour, probably around 180, 190 kilometers an hour, but unfortunately I'm really not interested in doing that. I do enjoy riding it at the speed limit. I do enjoy leaning into turns, and I love the fact that it picks up really quick, but I'm really not an adrenaline junkie, and I'm really not trying to get kicks from going fast. So if you're looking for that in this review, unfortunately I'm not going to be able to give it to you. Now this is heading up towards Herberton. This is a nice little, it's called the Herberton Range, funnily enough. It's a nice little set of twisties. They're really not too, drastic. Going uphill I find always easier than going downhill, and the curves, you can sit in third or fourth gear, not have to change, not have to worry about changing between them. It's a really nice little set of twisties to sort of learn about the bike, how it's going to handle. Now I watched lots of reviews on this bike obviously before buying it, and they all talk about how easy it is to flick it into corners and how easy it is to handle, and it feels light. And I don't really have much to compare it to because I've not ridden road bikes much before at all, but I will agree it is easy to lean into corners. When you put the throttle back on, she stands back up for you, no dramas. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it. It really is a lot of fun. You do get a bit moved around by the wind, but it's really not too bad, and it's something you get used to quite quickly. So here we are coming into the historic mining town of Herberton. Lovely little town. Funny thing though, there's a historic village, a little museum. It's a whole little village set up as a museum, a little bit back up the road. Absolutely incredible. But you don't really know where the museum starts and ends, because the entire town is like this historic little mining town, 100-plus-year-old buildings. Really cool, worth a visit. Okay, so as I come out of Herberton, there's another little set of twisties on the other side. So having a bit of fun here, leaning it around into these. Now it's been a really hot couple of days, so I find these shady bits on a bike, oh geez, it's so much cooler. You're just sort of looking for the shade. Really nice. So let's talk about the brakes real quick. I find the brakes pretty good. But one thing I do find amazing with the bike is the engine brake. I find if you're doing 100 k's an hour, you just let go of the throttle, you're back down to 60 within a really short distance without really having to kick a gear at all. If you're using your gears and you're not driving too hard or too fast, the engine brake and the gears are about as much brake as you need in most cases. When you do need to jump on the brakes, I find them responsive, I find them fantastic, so absolutely no complaints with the brakes. This bike does have ABS, and I have felt the ABS kick in a couple of times. It's not really unsettling or unnerving at all. You just sort of know, okay, that's the limit. I won't push that hard next time. Alright, as we cruise into the Windy Farm viewing area, we'll take a quick chat about suspension. The upside down forks, as I'm sure you're aware, they used to be gold, but they've gone back to black. So the later 2022 model, the forks are black again. I still think they look quite nice, and as far as comfort goes, I find it very comfortable. Look, old love the cow here, she thinks it's very impressive having a good old look. Now regards comfort, I only weigh 70 kilos and I find the suspension on this really, really good. It's at a good level. You may have a different opinion if you weigh a lot more or a lot less than me, but at 70 kilos I find the suspension perfect. Now one of the biggest gripes I found for this bike online and other reviews was the old halogen globes there for the indicators. Well, you'll be happy to know it's LEDs front to back all over, and they just look so much better than those old halogen globes. While we're talking about the lights, both headlights are on at all times. It's not one light for low beam and one light for high beam. You get both lights at all times, which I think is really cool. A quick shout out to the rubber. I've ridden over heaps and heaps of different types of road along this little tour I've done today. Dirt road, gravel, the bitumen here. No issues with the tyres. Have a look at this little shed up here. Check this out. It's shaped like a coffin and it's got RIP written on it. What the? Anywho, look at the view out to the other side. I nearly drove straight off the other side looking at that shed back there. It's just weird. Anyway, off we go. Buzzing through another set of twisties. This little road I took today, it was just, you know, every couple of kilometres there's another little set of twisties. You know, if you knew the road well, you could have a real blast just sort of slamming into it. Oh, here we go. This is a clip I was talking about. You can see both headlights. I'm only in low beam, but you can see them both. Geez, what a good looking bike. So I pulled up here for some photos. This chicken came over and told me how good the bike looks and how good I looked on it. So we sat at the table there and just talked about life. Had a look at Mount Bartle Frere and the view, and then yeah, the chicken took off. I think he had chicken things to do, so slightly heartbroken. I kitted back up and got back on the bike myself. So as I get kitted up to get back on the bike, I'll give you a quick rundown of my gear. That jacket is a Dry Rider Compass 4, absolutely love it. The gloves, the brand is 5, the model is RS5s. Love them as well, and the helmet is a HJC CS15. That's a really good helmet too. The jeans are Dry Rider, the boots are Alpine Stars Ride Knit or something like that. They're really good boots, really comfortable. I can wear them 8 hours a day off the bike. And I do have a set of Alpine Stars gauntlet style gloves as well, but they're just a bit too warm this time of year. Pulling through Lake Eacham there, I was going to stop and get some nice photos at the lake, but unfortunately there were no car parks, so onward I went. And as I'm heading home, I'll just a quick mention about fuel economy. I get more than 300 k's to a tank, so she runs at about 2.9 litres per 100 kilometres, which is just incredible. But have a look at this. This is a real reason most people buy this bike, because it's stunning. Thanks Yamaha.